On number 3, I'm going to start again by plotting my points that I'm given for this triangle. So I have M is at -4, 0. So right here, I'm actually going to switch colors quick. N is at 0, 5. And O is at 10, -3. Now I get to play connect the dots and draw in my triangle. Nope, that was not close. Okay. I know that I'm looking for this circumcenter, so I'm trying to find perpendicular bisectors. To take care of the bisector part of that, I need to find 2 midpoints. I'm going to choose NM and NO for this. And before we get too far, I'm going to fill in that this is my right angle, because that's going to help me out in a second. Okay, and I know that was the right angle because I was told it was the right triangle, and I can easily tell that MO is longer than my other 2 sides, so that has to be the hypotenuse. All right, looking at MN, I'm going to use my midpoint formula to find my midpoint here. So my x values are -4 and 0. So -4 plus 0, I'm still at -4. Divide by 2, I'm at -2. Do the same with my y's. 0 plus 5, I'm at 5. Divided by 2, I'm at 2.5. So that is this point right here. Doing the same thing on NO, I'm at 0, and then I'm at 10. 0 plus 10 is 10. Divided by 2, I'm at 5. And then for my y values, I am at 0, -3. So that adds to 2. Divided by 2, I should be at 1. So again, my picture is very off. Okay, because that point is really like right up there. Okay. Just for fun, real quick, I'm going to find the midpoint of MO because something interesting kind of happens at the end. Okay, so I'm at -4 and 10, add those together. I'm at 6 divided by 2, I'm at 3. And then I'm at 0, -3, add those together. I'm still at -3, divide by 2, -1.5. That side was closer. Okay. We're going to use MN and NO though, because it'll be easier to find our slope that way. I know that a perpendicular bisector, the word perpendicular tells me that this new red line I'm about to draw has to be perpendicular to the side MN. So I'm going to find the slope of MN first. And let's see, I'm going up 5 over 4. So rise over run. If I take the negative reciprocal of that, I have -4/5. I'm going to look at NO really quick. I already know that MN and NO are perpendicular to each other. So that means this slope has to be -4/5, which means the slope of the new line I'm about to draw in has to be 5/4. Using those slopes and those points, I'm going to write equations for these lines in point-slope form. So I have y minus 1 equals my slope 5/4 times x minus 5. Scooting over here, I have y minus 2.5 equals my slope -4/5 times x plus 2. I'm going to rearrange this just a little bit. I'm going to add 1 over here, so that cancels out, and I'm going to add 2.5 over here. That way, as soon as I move over to do some algebra, everything is already set up as y equals, so this will drop out. So I'm going to scoot over here where I have some open space, and I'm going to write my formulas, or not formulas, equations rather. So y equals negative 4/5 times x plus 2 plus 2.5. And my other equation was y equals 5/4 times x minus 5 plus 1. Because I have two things that both equal y, I can set everything on the right of the equation equal to each other. So I'm going to have negative 4/5 times x plus 2 plus 2.5 equals 5/4 times x minus 5 plus 1. I'm going to clean things up a little bit by distributing and combining like terms. So I have negative 4/5 times x plus, oh, actually it's going to end up being a minus because I have a negative 4/5. So I have minus 8/5 plus 2.5 equals 5/4 x minus 25/4 plus 1. Clean some of this up a little bit. Negative 8/5 plus 2.5. I'll be at 9/10. So I'm gonna switch all this to decimals real quick. So I have 0.8x plus 0.9 equals 5/4 is the same as 1.25x, and then 25/4. Remember that's negative. So negative 6.25 is the same as that. I'm adding 1, so I'm really subtracting 5.25. Now I just need to do some algebra. I'm going to add 0.8x to both sides. And I'm going to add 5.25. So 5.25 plus 0.9, that's 6.15. And 1.25 plus 0.8x at 2.05x. Now I need to divide, so I have 6.15 divided by 2.05, and I get that x has to equal 3. Remember, I'm really looking for an ordered pair here. So if I take that x value, to find the y value of that ordered pair, I can take 3 for x and plug it into either one of these equations. And I'm kind of partial to that second one. So I'm going to do 3 minus 5 times 5/4 plus 1, and I get negative 1.5. That's the point that those two perpendicular bisectors will intersect, and that's what we call the circumcenter. Okay? Something kind of interesting happens in right triangles though. Our answer was 3, negative 1.5. We said before that was the midpoint of the hypotenuse. So in a right triangle, think this is circumscribed. Right, so there's a circle. It's going to go around like that. That point is going to be the center of the circle, and it's going to be the center of the hypotenuse. So if you know you have a right triangle and you're trying to find the circumcenter, you can save yourself all that work we just did, and you can just fill in the midpoint of the hypotenuse instead.